So, to start off, I am enjoying Rebirth outside of the semi-constant stream of optional busy work, doing open world areas, and mandatory busy work of doing side quests to feed your chocobo greens to make him feel better for the big race. I think part of this busy work is due to chasing trends and splitting up a 40-hour game into 3 80-plus hour games, but that's a topic for another day. What I really want to talk about is the writing of Rebirth and how it feels off to me. But quick, a 5-second sponsor from me. I made a video game. It's an RPG. It's pretty cool. It's very customizable. Check it out and play it. Thank you. Rebirth seems to have a very strange pacing for a game that should dedicate a lot of its time to building its cast. There have been a handful of scenes that I had to go back and rewatch to see if I'm missing something. At the end of Chapter 1, for example, Tifa attempts to confront Cloud about not being in Nibelheim 5 years ago, and they have the following exchange.
That night, 5 years ago, at the reactor, I saw you lying there. Saw your wound and all the blood. I figured it was too late.
Yeah? Wait, what are you implying? That I died? That I'm some kind of imposter?
So, how did Tifa jump to this conclusion? Unless Tifa overheard Cloud's hallucinations, this seems like a really big jump to make from Cloud's comment. Now, I can understand if Tifa is nervous about confronting Cloud, about being in Nibelheim, that she jumps to conclusions about what Cloud is saying, or maybe the original Japanese script was able to imply that Cloud is making accusatory statements. Either way, it just comes off as weird to me. But all this friction between Cloud and Tifa doesn't show for the next 10 hours until you get the Junon. Between that time, Tifa is her normal cheery self. Now, you could say that she's hiding all of this to not try to let everybody feel all frustrated or weird, but there really doesn't come off as any type of masking or hiding from this frustration she has. Backing up a little bit to the Nibelheim flashback, specifically when Sephiroth burns down the town, Cloud runs into town to see what's happening. This scene has you go through side buildings, squeeze through sections, your leg gets injured by falling debris only to painstakingly crawl from one building to the next to have it showcase Sephiroth taking out civilians one by one before being chased down to the reactor. This scene comes off as so odd to me. Why are we stretching out this scene? In the PS1 FF7, it is short and sweet. The town is on fire, people are dead, and Sephiroth does the cool FMV walk. It tells you all the information you need then and there. This is bad, this guy's also bad, but cool. Rebirth slows this scene down to a literal crawl to make the player feel tension, suspense, and powerlessness, but it doesn't come off that way. The game already establishes all of this information. The tension is in the town on fire, the suspense is why Sephiroth did this, and the powerlessness is that we couldn't save anybody or prevent this. It feels like a weird gamification of remaking the Nibelheim scene. It doesn't need to be remade, it needs to be remade for a video game. The next scene I want to talk about is the Midgar Zolom, or the Midgar Storm, whatever you want to call it. After fighting the beast, it grabs Cloud and drags it underwater, only for Sephiroth to show up and blast the creature out of the water and impale it on a tree. Cloud passes up, wakes up, and the gang enters the Mithril Mines. So, how come nobody is really concerned about Cloud here? Later on in the game, they show concern and have him rest multiple times. How come drowning doesn't faze anybody? And the giant snake that was lifted 50 feet into the air and impaled on the tree, nobody but Cloud saw Sephiroth, so do they think he did that? It seems like the game wanted to show off its cool set piece from the original, but not have the characters acknowledge the events in that scene itself. It just is so weird to me. So it might seem like I'm taking these core scenes from FF7 and nitpicking them and taking them apart and saying everything is bad about it, but I'm not. It's these weird inconsistencies, this weird dialogue and direction that starts throwing me off, that starts adding confusion and misunderstanding of these scenes from my overall enjoyment of this game. While Rebirth does have a lot of weird writing and direction choices, there are some scenes that really shine through. I do want to compliment the dialogue and direction for a couple of scenes. Tifa and Cloud's talk in Junon is a prime example. it perfectly shows Cloud's growth from Remake while still keeping some of his snark involved. His disassociation when Tifa is talking about stuff that does not interest him, Cloud's 1,000-yard stare at the floor, I felt that. Cloud trying to do CPR on Yuffie's hilarious because he forgets that he's actually just 14, stares at his hands, and doesn't know what he should do. It's a great character moment for him. But then you get the Cloud and Tifa's first date at the Golden Saucer when they're about to go on the Ferris wheel, and there's the weird ominous music. I don't know why it's there. I think it's there because the other 2 date scenes had that, and they didn't want to change it because it is not what the mood is about. I digress. Okay, so now to get to the moment that blindsided me so hard I had to make this video. Dyne. Dyne is the shadow of Barret. Barret takes out his frustration and anger on Shinra, not caring about who gets caught in the crossfire. Dyne does the same thing. The difference is about what they're justifying it for. Barret is doing it for Marlene and later his friends and the planet, while Dyne does it to fill this void that can never be satiated. In Rebirth, when Barret finds Dyne, I still don't understand how and why he's tied up like this. He's delusional and his mind is living in 2 different worlds. When he lets his anger take over him and confronts Barret, he, like everybody else in Corel, blames him for what's happened to him, his town, and his family. When Barret tells him that Marlene is alive, this only angers him further. Barret has taken Dyne's identity and role of a father from him. Unlike the PS1 version, there is no solace or relief of Dyne wishing Barret to take care of her. Instead, he makes sure he will not be forgiven. Even in his final moments, Dyne curses Barret and literally makes him carry his weight. No matter how much he tries, he will not be absolved of his actions. The only thing Barret can do is scream. It's a brilliant, impactful scene, and the camera fades to black and we're left thinking, wait, what the f***? Why is the scene still going? Why is Shinra bringing in a big robot? Who cares? Why is the scene still going on? You can see Barret and Dyne, and you are forced to ignore them and continue with the game. Why would you not end the scene on this? This is a pivotal part of this arc. This is Barret's moment, and you're brushing it off as some side quest to beat up a big dumb robot. I was shouting at my computer in shock. Complete bewilderment. If you have a climactic scene, something that is heavy and carries a lot of emotional weight, you want the audience to hold on to that feeling and think about it. Digest what they just saw. You can do a lot of things here. You can have the party comfort Barret, cut to the grave the group made, cut to a different scene even, continuing the scene like this, making it like it's another card to be punched just to continue to go into another big boss fight, undermines Barret's entire scene and just feels wrong. You don't do that to Barret, and he never deserved this. Johnny, sure, but Barret, no. So I don't really have some grand realization or some foregone conclusion to go to, but I just think a lot of stuff with Remake's writing and directing is weird. I don't know if it's too many cooks in the kitchen, if different people were writing and directing for different scenes, but both of the writers from Vanilla FF7 are the same writers in Remake, so I have no idea. But what do you think? Did the writing and direction of this game make perfect sense to you? Or did something throw you off and you couldn't really pick out what it was? Let me know in the comments if you want, and I don't know, don't spoil the game for other people, because that would be mean. Alright, bye.